Are you currently working in IT or are you looking to enter the field and you want to figure out a way to make six figures? Well, in today's video, we're going to talk about some tips and strategies on how you can jumpstart and advance your career to making six figures. Coming up after this. Welcome back, everyone. And again, thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Bearded IT Dad. We here give you advice and insight on how to start and advance your career in the IT field. You probably clicked on this video because you want to earn a lot of money working in the IT field, or you maybe just want to earn a lot of money and you're interested in maybe in IT as a way to do that. Well, today I'm going to give you some advice on how to make six figures. And then at the end of the live stream, after I've kind of given you some advice, stick around because I'm going to open up to a Q&A section where you guys can chime in with any questions you might have. If you're watching this on the replay, make sure and drop your questions in the comments below because I get back to every single comment. I have no unanswered comments. So if you have a question at all during the time, put them in the chat. And once I've done talking, and given the presentation, I will come back to the chat and answer these questions for you. I was able to, I want to give you guys a bit of backstory here. I was able to, in a short amount of time, excuse me, uh, go from an entry level position to a director level position. That short amount of time was 3 years. In 3 years, I went from an entry level position having no prior work experience in the field in IT all the way to a director's level, making six figures. And I say that roughly because I don't actually make six figures, but by the time you count in the benefits and everything, that I am well over six figures. But I was able to do that in 3 years. And it took determination to do that. Sorry. Anywho, so when I first got into the field, I had no prior work experience. I had no college education. I was a college dropout. Uh, I had no IT certifications. You might be hearing if you're looking to get into the IT field that you need IT certifications. And I do have IT certification now. You can see them on the wall behind me. But when I entered the IT field, I didn't have any certifications. And I was able to land a $50,000 a year job, an entry level job with no experience because I went out there and started applying because I knew I wanted to work in IT. I had worked boring jobs all my life. I was a bulldozer operator. I worked in manufacturing. I did the jobs that put the food on the table. And I finally got to a point in my life where I was tired of just settling, just doing what I need to do to survive, and I wanted to start going to work and enjoying my job. And that's what led me down this path is finding out what I was passionate about and what I wanted to do for a living. And for me, it is technology. I've always had a huge interest in tech, but I never did anything with it. So going back a little over 3 years ago now, I applied for my first entry level job as an IT support specialist for a hospitality company. When I first started out, my job title was IT support specialist, and I kept that job title for the 2 years I was with that company. But I started out, my job role changed. I started out just doing basic password resets, creating email accounts for users, fixing the darn copier that always broke. Once you get into IT, you'll learn copiers and printers are like the bane of your existence, but they're also your job security. They're always breaking. But anywho, I started off at this entry level position, but I had drive. I knew I wanted more. I knew I wanted an administrator level job. Knew I wanted to be a network or systems administrator. And I started studying what it would take to go from the very bottom, the basic entry level job, and level myself up to an administrator job. So I started studying networking. I had a huge passion for networking, and I found I was lucky enough. I was able to figure out my passion early in my tech field. It's not always like this. And that's why I always recommend starting out at the help desk. The help desk is a great spot to start out to figure out what you really enjoy. If you know you like tech, but you don't know if you want to be in security, networking, DevOps, programming, whatever, start at the help desk. Just get your foot in the door. This is my first number one tip to you guys is if you are not in the IT field, but you know that's the field you want to be in and you know you want to be in tech, don't wait. Start today. Go out today. As soon as this live stream's over, go out and start applying for jobs. There's a common misconception in the IT field that you need IT certifications to be able to get into the field. And yes, IT certifications definitely do help get you to that interview. Don't get me wrong, but you do not need them. I was able to land a really nice entry level IT job with no certifications, no prior work experience, and no college education. It is completely possible. Uh, there's this one YouTuber on I watch all the time that gives YouTube advice. And his go-to line is you gotta punch fear in the face. You have to start today. Um, and that couldn't be more true. Um, when I made the career change, I was scared. I had a family of three. Um, you know, I had just lost my job and I didn't know what to do. We had nothing in savings, we weren't prepared. And I told my wife, I really don't think I want to go back into just another manual labor job. I don't want to go back into manufacturing. I think I want to follow my dream of working in tech, working in IT. And she's like, if that's what you want to do and you think you can do it, then go for it. So I went out and started applying for jobs and I landed a job. It wasn't overnight. I went to a bunch of different meetup events and stuff like that. But I was able to land that job. So if you're unsure that you can do the job, start applying. The worst that's going to happen is they're going to tell you no. The job market is there's tons of room for opportunity, and now more than ever there's tons of entry level positions. You just have to start putting yourself out there more. Start applying for these jobs. If you find yourself Another tip for you guys, if you find yourself applying for these jobs but you're not getting any callbacks, take a look at your resume. Maybe it's time to rework your resume. That's the biggest thing. If you're applying for jobs but not getting any interviews, there's something wrong with your resume. If you are getting calls and going to interviews but you're not getting jobs, then you need to work on your interviewing skills. So, biggest thing is if you find yourself not getting calls, time to throw that resume away and rebuild it from scratch. So, when I decided to leave my job after 2 years in the IT field and go for a more advanced position, I was applying for a bunch of jobs and I'm like, oh gosh, I got experience. I have certifications now. I got freaking trophies for networking. I have trophies from Cisco. Um, so like I should have no problem landing a networking job, but I found myself not getting like even an interview, not getting the time of day. And I was like, what is wrong? Like maybe I don't know everything. Maybe I don't know as much as I did. And I decided, okay, I'm going to rework my resume. I thought I had a nice resume, but I'm going to throw it out and rebuild it from scratch and really consolidated it down. And what I started doing was making a resume tailored around each job that I was applying for. So I look at the job and if they had certain requirements or things they were looking for and those skills that I had, I'd make sure I put them on my resume or even better yet, I make sure I'm putting them on my cover letter in bold. And those exact requirements they were looking for, if I had them, don't lie on your resume. But if you have those skills, make sure you highlight them. Make sure you put them somewhere that stands out. The average HR person that's going through thousands of resumes trying to find a few people to interview, you have like the first 10 seconds to capture their attention. So you want to make sure in those first couple lines of your resume, you are capturing their attention to that they want to read more or at least skim over your resume. And when they do, you want to make it easy to find the information that they're looking for. That's a big tip to you guys. Making sure it is easy for them. Don't have your resume cluttered with a bunch of information. Bullet point information and make it easy for them to find that information because they're going to look at your resume if you're lucky for 5 seconds. and they're either going to put you in the trash can or they're going to put you in the interview pile. You have that little amount of time to win them over. And sometimes you don't even get that far. Sometimes there are pre-screener systems that are screening the resumes before they even get to the person to read them. So you got to make sure your skills are on there. And one big tip for you guys is if you are if you're applying for a job that requires a certification and maybe you don't have that certification but you've started studying for that certification, put that on your resume. Say this job requires you to have the A plus, but you don't have it, but you've been started studying for it. Make sure and list that on your resume. Say something along the lines of currently studying for the CompTIA A plus, exam date scheduled for, and put the date you've actually scheduled and go out and schedule the exam. That'll do two things. One, that will help hold you accountable for taking the exam by when you say it'll give you motivation to keep on studying and take your exam and not procrastinate. Two, that will either get you through the automated HR screener because it's going to see, oh, CompTIA A plus. Okay, this person must have a CompTIA A plus. Pass it along. Or once it lands in that HR's hands, they're going to say, oh, well, they don't have the certification, but they're currently studying for it. Well, we probably should interview that person because that knowledge is going to be fresh in their mind. So that's a huge point of advice I have for you guys. Now, if you are already in the IT field, a lot of people say, oh, I need to get certifications to level up my job, my current position. To be 100% honest with you, certifications aren't necessarily for the job you're in currently. They definitely help. They give you more knowledge, but certifications 9 out of 10 times is for your future jobs. That's the best way I think about it. Is I'm not taking a certification for the current job I have. I'm taking certifications for the jobs that I want. The way I am gaining that knowledge to better myself, to make myself a more valuable candidate for that future job. So, go out and talk to people find someone who is doing your dream job. Go search on LinkedIn, find some LinkedIn group or something and ask me, if, hey, I'm interested in studying I want to get into cybersecurity. What certifications should I be looking for? And I'll tell you straight what certifications I think you should be looking for. Find someone who has your dream job and talk to them and see how they got how they got that position. More than likely, most people in this IT field you'll talk to are super friendly and are more than willing to give great advice. So go out and talk to people and figure out what they did to get into those positions. And better yet, if there's someone working in one of those positions in your company, see if your company offers like a job shadowing opportunity. So you can go job shadow or volunteer to help. Like if you hear that like the networking team is working on a late night maintenance window, go to your boss and say, hey, I'm really interested in networking. Is there any chance I can come in and just be a fly on the wall and try to absorb as much information? What you'll find out is when you start just shadowing and just watching people doing these things, they're going to start telling you what they're doing and they're going to start giving you this wonderful information and they're going to start helping you develop your skills. And then when a chance comes up for a position in their department, they're going to be like, oh, hey, so and so Sam has always been here through all our maintenance windows. He knows pretty much how to do this job. We should go talk to him and offer him the position before we go outside the company and look for an interview. That's not always the case. Nowadays, if you want to make the dash for the cash, as I like to say, if you want to make as much money as possible, as quick as possible, a lot of times you're going to have to do job hop. You're going to have to do a year or so with a company and then go and find a higher paying position. But if you're in it for the long haul and don't mind waiting and leveling up your career, that is definitely one path to go. So I've given you guys a lot of information, but there's a couple more pointers I want to throw out there. And if you guys have any questions at all, please make sure and drop them in the chat. I will definitely get back to every single one of you. And if you're watching this on the live stream, on the replay, put your questions in the comments below and I promise I will get back to you guys. So one of the biggest ways to help stand out to your boss that you are eager to learn and you want to advance your career is go to your boss and find out what their problems are. What are some of the issues they are having and see if there's a way you can help them solve those problems. You know, I've done this before and I go to my boss and I just happen to hear them talking about a problem and I would offer some off the wall solution that I thought was, oh no way that's going to be helpful at all. And it ended up solving the problem. Just having that communication, showing that interest that, you care, that you're a team player is going to go a long way. You know, when you work together to solve these problems, people are not going to only notice that you're a team player, but they're going to see you in the process of problem solving and realize that you know what you're talking about or you know how to find the answers. It's not always known about in this field. You don't always know the answers. You more times than not have no clue what the problem is and have no way of knowing how to figure it out. But in this field, it's all about knowing how to find the answers. Google is your biggest friend. So in this field, it's like I said, you're not going to know everything and it's okay. It is perfectly acceptable not to know everything, but you need to know how to troubleshoot the problems and how to find the solutions and communicate that to people. Like I said, you're not expected to know everything. It is perfectly fine. And just to be able to communicate to them, say, hey, I don't know the answer, but let me go do some research and I'll get right back to you and follow through on it. Do not leave that hanging. So, uh, welcome everyone, by the way, just catching up on the chat here. Tons of, yes. Justin, would this help in interviews? I'm not sure what you're referring to because I didn't see when your question came in. Let me know though. Excuse me. Most of this advice would definitely help in interviews. Oh, my computer's not working. There we go. You're welcome. It is perfectly capable. It is perfectly achievable. That's the word I was looking for. It is perfectly achievable to make $100,000 within 3 years of entering the field. I'm proof of it. I'm a college dropout. Okay. Like I said, in the beginning of the stream, I had no prior work experience when I entered the IT field. I had no IT certifications. Still, I have an A+. That's all I have is an A+ and a off the wall kind of oddball Cisco Meraki cert. But that's all I have still to this day. I'm studying Linux Plus currently, but I am proof that this is a completely achievable goal that you guys can go out and achieve your dreams and make there's a lot of money to be made here. All right, let me look at chat here really quick. Oh, LOL. When you were just talking about research and finding a solution, absolutely. So Justin's first question was asking if this would be helpful in interviews, and absolutely, because I can guarantee you when you get to the interviews, they're going to ask you either how to solve a certain problem. They're going to give you a problem to solve, or they're going to ask you how would you go about solving the problem. And it is perfect. Like I said, it is perfectly 100% acceptable in this field to say that you don't know the solution to the answer. But the most important thing is when you say that, you have to know how to do the research. So if you're if you're in an interview and they ask you a problem and you can say it is perfectly, I think it is 100% acceptable, if not a really good answer to say, you know what? I don't know, but give me 20 minutes and I'm going to go research this and I will come back to you with an answer. That is a perfectly acceptable answer to give. So, and when you're working in the IT field, that's something you're going to say more times than not. And it is perfectly fine. It is 100% fine. And then you'll go back to your computer and Google and get on Reddit and you'll find some solution. That's how it works. That is how the IT field works. Like, so many people think you got to have all this great knowledge and all this cosmic power to get far in the field, and it is not. It is just simply not. Anyone who says that is lying. All right. You you you're gonna use Google every single day. I can almost guarantee you at some point in your job, you're gonna Google on a daily basis a problem to a solution. Or you're gonna think of a problem. It might not even necessarily be a problem that you're faced with currently, but you're gonna think of a problem or a hypothetical in the future, and you're gonna go study that. And you know what? That's thinking ahead of the problem, and you're gonna be better off because when that problem actually does happen, guess who already has Googled it and figured it out, or at least knows immediately where to go back and Google and retrieve that answer. That's part of it too. You might not remember the thing you Googled, but you remembered what the Google search was and what website you went to find the answer, and you're going to find it that much faster. Now, my biggest recommendation is when those scenarios happen, have a notebook. So I use a program called Notion. I use Notion, and then I use another one called Slab. When I come across those problems, I document the whole thing out, the problem out, and then I document the answer, and I also link to the website where that answer was. That way, when I come across that problem again, I can just do a quick search in my note-taking application, and oh, look, back on February 13th, I had the same problem, and this is what I did to fix it. And boom, that is so valuable. And you'll find if you keep on doing that, you're going to build those a knowledge base of problems, and it's going to help future generations, future people in the field, future people that work that position is going to help them because you're going to eventually move up because you're going to get so smart and knowledgeable. So, when do you really start feeling confident in your abilities? Never, never. I mean, to be 100% honest, Yorkyard ask, to this day, I'm a director of network operations. The the internet and phone service for 3 different towns and growing quickly relies on me solely. It is my responsibility 24/7 to make sure the internet continues to work. I mean, we're talking for 911 dispatchers, cell phone towers. I mean, it all comes through my network operations center. That is a huge burden. And I can guarantee you there is plenty of days I go to work and I'm like, fuck, they're gonna excuse me, excuse me, guys. I didn't mean to drop the F bomb. But I'm gonna be like, they're gonna figure me out. This is the day they're gonna figure me out. It's called imposter syndrome. There's tons of videos out there. Um, but yeah, it's called imposter syndrome, and I don't think you ever truly get over it. Um, but what you do with that feeling is what moves you forward. I use that fear almost to drive me forward to continue studying, to continue studying and learning better skills. So do you ever get over imposter syndrome? No, but you can use that feeling to advance yourself, make yourself that much better in your position. Uh, uh helmet, helmet. Learning web developing, and I realized that knowing how to Google is a skill. Absolutely, knowing how to Google is 100% a skill. Yes, they will. It happened to me this week. What does your ideal tech workplace look like? Are you asking me like place to work would look like? I don't really have a ideal tech place to work. My home, I guess. I would love a work from home position. But in my line of work, it is pretty rare. Um, Ideal place to work. I like working for small companies, um, small organizations. I like the feeling that I matter. Like you get more of a feeling that you matter more when you work for a small organization. You get to know everyone. You have frequent encounters with CEOs and, general managers and, board of directors members. Um, so working for a smaller organization, that is definitely, I feel it's an easier place to start if you can get your foot in the door there. So, absolutely. Thought I had burst my brain to remember everything. Yeah, that's a common feeling that, it is you don't have to know everything. It is I can't say that enough. Get your foot in the door and start learning, and you'll realize you know more than you tell yourself. So, saying I don't know something saying I don't know is something I'm still trying to learn to get used to. My supervisor keeps saying from a user's point of view that I'm an expert. It seems contrary. And it is difficult to figure that out, to know that it is okay to not know everything. It is perfectly acceptable. But sometimes that takes a lot of, you're worried that if you don't know something, you're going to lose your job. And that's a common fear in this field. And it is completely not that way. I mean, most people, when they're going through the interview and hiring you, they have a pretty good idea of what you do know and what you don't know. Now, if you lie in your resume or lie in your interview, that's something different. And if you apply for a job that you definitely are not qualified for, that is something totally different. But that rarely is the case. That is very rarely the case. And it is perfectly okay to not be the expert, but strive to be. You never will be the expert. I can almost tell you that. It will take years of your life and dedication to become the expert. But it's okay. But should you at least strive to be somewhat of an expert? Absolutely. Should you grind every day, give your 110% at your job? Absolutely. Does it go unnoticed? Sometimes, but more times than not, it will pay off tenfold. And that trust is easily broken in the IT field or in any field. But if you build up that trust that you're the trustworthy person that comes to work, the smile on their face every day and gives us all, that will take you so far in this career field. You'll be making six figures in no time. I can almost guarantee it. That's a lot of responsibility. How do you manage the stress from work? Alcohol, drugs. No, I don't drink actually anymore. I definitely don't do any drugs. Um, I can, you gotta have that proper work life balance to deal with that stress. Um, when I come home, when I hop in my truck and start driving home, that is my time to unwind and let go of everything for the day because there's nothing more I can do. Uh, I'm an hourly employee. I have all that responsibility, but yet I'm still hourly. So when 5 o'clock comes, as long as there's not something customer affecting, there's not some big outage, it can wait till tomorrow. There's always going to be another day. Um, and it's okay to say that when you're giving your 100% every day. You can say, look, I did the best I can. Everyone's internet's on. Everyone's going to be able to watch their Netflix tonight and make their phone calls. Everything's running good. I don't need to worry about work. That email, as long as it's not system critical alert coming through, I'm not going to reply to it till tomorrow. And for example, I got a email from my boss, from the head boss of the organization at 5:30 as I'm driving home. I still haven't replied to it. And you know what? Could I have replied to it? Probably. Should I reply to it? Maybe even. But I'm off the clock and he knows that and he respects that completely. So you have to have that work life balance. And it is hard to develop, especially when you're going to work and grinding every day and you're trying to move up quickly in the IT field. It is hard to remind yourself that, hey, It's not affecting a customer right now. It can wait till tomorrow. It absolutely can wait till Monday morning. It is fine. So having that work-life balance is key. And use your vacation time. You have vacation time for a reason. I'm heading out to the coast to go camping with my family for the weekend. I have camping trips planned pretty much through the summer because that is my way of relaxing. We go out and go camping. So work life balance, it is very vital in the field. And not all employers offer that. That's when you get into those toxic workplaces. So when you find that, like, and have that boss that understands that and values that, you're in the right place. So, in your experience, is it better to stay and climb the ladder at a small company or 1 year stints? It depends. Um, depends if a small company has room for you to climb the ladder. Depends on how much you enjoy working for that company. There's a lot of factors into it, and I can't say everyone's situation is different here. From my experience, if you want to make that dash for the cash, you want to quickly level up and make as much money as possible. You want to hit six figures right away. You're not going to be able to stay in a small organization and level up. It's not going to happen. You'll make six figures probably eventually, but that might be a 15, 20 year plan. If you want to level up your career super quick, you're going to have to do these 1 year stints and you're going to have to job hop. It is the only way. If you find a company you really enjoy working for and you are happy, there's something to be said there. You can't put a monetary value on some things. And you also got to keep some things in mind. So I said I make $100,000 a year, but I don't really. My salary's not that high. But there's certain other perks of my job that I also factor in. Like my health insurance is 100% employer paid. I pay nothing out of pocket for a family of 5. I have 3 children and a wife on my health insurance, and my employer covers the whole bill. They also contribute 100% into my retirement. So they pay 10% of my annual salary. They pay into my retirement without me having to put a single penny in. I don't contribute to my retirement. So between those two things, that is a huge perk. That is a lot of money, especially nowadays when healthcare prices are going through the roof and I don't have to pay a penny for healthcare. That's huge. That's how much money that would save me? I would have to make well over $100,000 to bring home as much as I'm bringing home now if my employer didn't pick up that tab. And then my retirement, they pay 10% of my annual salary into my retirement without me having to drop a penny in there. That's a lot. So you have to factor those things into it as well. I finally found that job where I don't know if I'll ever change jobs again because I don't know if I'll ever be able to find a job that the benefits are this good. So weigh that into your decision because that goes a long way. What questions do you ask in an interview to determine whether the job is an ideal fit? Um, Questions I'll ask is I like to try to figure out the personality. To me, 9 out of 10 times, I really don't care if they know how to do the job skills, the hard skills, because I can teach that. I can train that. I care if they're going to be a good fit with my team. I care if they're going to be a good fit with the organization. Because if they don't have those people skills or they're not going to be a good fit for the organization, they're not going to last long. So why waste our time? I can teach people how to do networking. I can teach people how to do everything they need to do in the job as long as they have the right mentality and the right motivation and the right personality. Soft skills, I've said this so many times on this channel. So if you've heard me say this before, I'm sorry if you feel like I'm harping or I'm a broken record, but soft skills are the most important skill you can have in the IT field. You cannot have, if you can be the smartest person in the world, but if you don't have good soft skills, you're going to fail. If you can't communicate with people, you're not going to make it in this field. This field is not for you. Gone are the days of basement IT departments that smell like old pizza boxes and stinky socks. You know, the days of the IT department that is never heard from or never seen are gone. IT, no matter what part of IT you're working in, I'm sorry to say, but IT is a customer service oriented job. It is a 100%. You might not be working with your company's customers, but your customers are 100% your coworkers and employees. You have to have those people skills and be able to communicate. So, in that interview, I want to know that that person is a good fit and has good people skills. That is the most important one. I know I didn't answer, the exact question because my questions vary. I don't have a list of like questions. I make them up as I go because I try to act on cues that the person is putting out there in the interview. And I'll ask something weird off the wall to put them in an awkward situation to see how they handle it. Stuff like that. I get to know them and their personality. So you're a director and you're still hourly. Yes, absolutely. And you know what? To be honest with you, I'm kind of glad I'm still hourly. You know, salary kind of sucks. So I feel very fortunate. I never get overtime the way my company structures everything. They'd rather give me comp time, and I'd rather get comp time anyways. But yeah, 40-hour a week, hourly director of network operations. I live in the dream, guys. It is great. Before your current position, did you realize it was time to move on from the previous one? Absolutely. So in my current my before my current position, my very first job, I was a IT support specialist. And like I said earlier in the stream, if you caught it, I started off doing password resets, setting up email accounts, setting up user accounts, basic help desk stuff. I was with the company for 2 years, and by the time I left, the 2 years later, I was designing the complete IT infrastructure for all of our brand new and retrofit hotels, or remodel hotels. I was designing the networking infrastructure, firewalls, POS systems. Not necessarily designing them, but picking them out, purchasing them. I was taking care of shipping. I mean, I did everything for our brand new and remodels. So I quite advanced, but I still had the same job title. I was still an IT support specialist. That part kind of frustrated me, but it wasn't a big deal. When I decided to leave, I was starting to get to that point again in my life where I wasn't happy. Unfortunately, my job, when I started there, they told me there was going to be some travel, but rarely overnight travel, which I was fine with. But by the time I left, I was doing like 3 month stints down in California while we built a brand new hotel in the middle of August without air conditioning. I was carrying APs up and wireless access points up and down stairs, boxes on each shoulder, sweat dripping off me. I'm not a fit guy. I mean, I'm a bigger guy, mounting them all by myself, which was fine. I didn't mind that, but being away from home just killed me. I got 3 kids, and I was being gone for 3 months at a time. Home on the weekends, luckily, but still, I would have to fly back and forth every week. And about my third or fourth hotel that I did that on, I was just like, no, I can't do this. I love the job, but I can't travel as much. And I tried to reason with my boss. I'm like, you know what? We had just bought a travel trailer. I'm like, let me bring my travel trailer down and bring my family down with me. That way I can sit down with my family every night and eat dinner. And it wasn't my boss saying no, it was the owners of the company saying no. Someone had tried to do that before and abused it. Um, so I just said, you know what, this isn't for me. And I left that company um without having another job lined up. I gave my 2 weeks notice. I'm like, I can't do this. I can't be away from family. I just had my grandfather pass away. We had another family member that was sick. Times were rough, and I'm like, I can't be away. So I gave my 2 weeks notice and moved on. And then keep the story going. I did a short time at a local school district between then that job and my current job. Um, Really, really toxic work environment. It was. I've heard great things about people who work in school districts. The one I worked for, it was a nightmare. I started debating going back into getting out of IT because of it. I was miserable. So while I was working that job, I started applying for jobs again and landed the job I have now. And I am been in that job for over a year. So I completely love it. I don't plan on leaving it ever. So hopefully that answered your question. If you still have, if you want more, let me know. Is the help desk experience necessary when you're first starting out in IT, or should you go for what interests you the most? That's a difficult question to answer. A lot of times, yes, the help desk is necessary. And for 99% people, I'd say do the help desk first. You won't regret it. It will give you a solid foundation to build your IT career on. Um, I really think everyone should do time at least 1 year on the help desk when they're starting out. If not just to get appreciation for the position. You learn a lot on the help desk. You would really be surprised how much you learn. Is it possible to leapfrog the help desk and go right into a network engineering position? Absolutely. Does it take more time and skills to build up? Yes. But it is possible. I've seen it. It is absolutely possible to skip the help desk. I just don't recommend it personally. I really think everyone needs that time. It's like a rite of passage. You learn important skills on the help desk. And what's nice about the help desk is you get an idea of what you want to do in the field. You might think you like networking or want to jump straight into a field you're interested in. But once you get into that field, you realize, oh, this is not the field for you. Now you got to backpedal and try to jump jobs and jump into another field. It gets messy. So by doing that 1 to 2 years on the help desk, you really get a sense of what you enjoy doing, what you enjoy working on, and can progress your career better instead of having to like backpedal. So the extra benefits are a serious bump in salary. Absolutely. Yeah, I was talking about, if you guys missed it, talking about, you got to factor those things in, such as, you know, how much the health insurance is covered and your 401k or retirement. Absolutely. Those things add, it's not just your salary. You have to consider your benefits too when you're trying to figure out if this job is worth staying in or working for this company longer. Just want to say great job. Really respect your opinion, and have tried to emulate your way of doing things on my channel. Absolutely. Uh big bald Azure guy. I have to check out your channel. I love the name. I will definitely check out your channel and send me a message. I'd love to have you on the channel. I love having guests on the channel that work in this field or know stuff. Send me a DM on Twitter or something or on our Discord, and I want you to come on the channel and talk. I'm sure with a name like that, I'm sure you got to have tons of knowledge. Thank you for answering all my questions. How much of the cloud do you need to know as a network engineer? It varies. So, as a network engineer, you don't have to know a lot of the cloud. Will it help you maybe advance into a higher paying job? Absolutely, because does the cloud absolutely has networking in network engineering. So if you know the cloud and are a network engineer, you are so much more valuable, and your price tag for your skills just skyrocketed. So if you know the cloud and know networking very well, you're going to be making, I can guarantee you, cloud network engineers are, most jobs start out over $100,000. Matter of fact, here, let's take a look here. If you're interested in a job but don't know if it's the right job for you or what it pays, what I recommend doing here. Sorry, here 1 second. Go to the good old trusty Indeed. I love Indeed when it comes to looking at jobs. Uh, Helps if I spell it. We're gonna just say remote. First listing right here that lists the salary, 90 to $105,000 a year, $80 an hour, 110 to $135,000 a year. So being a cloud network engineer, big bucks. And these are all remote jobs. These aren't even working at, like, let's just type in a state. Let's type in Oregon, since I live in Oregon here. It's going to vary depending on where you live. Absolutely. Look, 80 to $110,000 a year. 175,000 to $219,000 a year. I mean, this isn't no entry level position. Don't get me, don't get me wrong, but there is money to be made if you know the cloud. 113 to $144,000 a year. So, like I said, big bucks to be made. So that's definitely something to consider. But I learned networking first. So in that situation, I would learn networking first and then go from there and start learning the cloud. Get your feet wet, get into a networking position, and then start learning the cloud. Or find a company that works in the cloud already. Start leveling up that way. Napalm Death Monkey, welcome to the stream. So if you guys are just joining, welcome. If you have any questions at all, make sure and drop them in the chat, and I will get back to every single one of you guys. This has been an epic live stream. You guys have been coming up with great questions. And if you're watching this on the replay, put your questions in the comment below. I get back to every single one of you guys. So, you know, don't get, don't get unmotivated. I'm trying to think of the right word I'm looking for here. Don't get down and thinking that, I got to do time at the help desk. I'm not going to make a lot of money. There's some entry level positions that make a decent salary. Like I said, when I started out at the help desk, I was making, like, I want to say my starting salary was about 49,000. Not a whole lot, but this was also several years ago. $50,000 a year. And then within 2 years, I got a $10,000 a year raise. It was actually $11,000 a year raise. I got bumped up to $62,000 a year within my first 2 years there. So it is possible. Do you ever use programming or scripting for your day-to-day work? I do some. It's mainly it's mainly not necessarily in my networking day to day. It's more or less in my server environment I manage. I do a lot of bash scripting, Linux scripts, and fire them off as cron jobs or whatever. But not a whole lot. I could definitely stand to learn more scripting, and it would go a lot further, making my job a lot easier. So absolutely. Should you learn programming and scripting? Yes. Um, right away as your first skill? No. If you're just getting into the field, do you need to know programming and scripting? Absolutely not. Don't overwhelm yourself. But as you level up your your skills and your career, you'll find it will make your life a lot easier. So that's 50K to 100K in my country. Not quite sure what you're referring to, but yeah. Would love to come on the channel. Just started a new cloud career training program with 12 people. Started live streaming on Thursday. Awesome. Can you show an example of the notes you take, showing the issues that you come across in troubleshooting? I would be more than happy to show you some of my notes. Oh, my screen's not updating. Oh, hold on. I'd be more than happy to show you some of my notes. Unfortunately, most of my notes have information that I cannot share outside of my organization. So Unfortunately, I'm unable to. I can kind of show you guys, some examples. Sometimes I can create I plan on creating a course about, a video about note taking in the IT field, and I definitely will show you guys some examples that don't have anything to do with my current job, but I can't show you any information about that. So, you mean a 50K help the salary is equivalent to 100K where you live? Wow, that's a awesome difference there. I mean, it is completely. It really depends on where you live, but yeah, absolutely, it is not unheard of for an entry level position to make $50,000 a year. That's a decent salary. And by the time you do 1 to 2 years at that level, there's no reason you can't be making, you know, over 70 to $80,000 2 years into the field. So, all right, guys. Well, I think I'm going to be wrapping up the live stream. We've been streaming for almost an hour now. If you guys have any more questions, make sure and drop them in the comments below. I get back to all of them. But yeah, absolutely. If you have any more questions, really quick, get them in the chat. I'll go through the questions here really quick. So make sure and rapid fire off those questions. If you haven't already, make sure and give this video a thumbs up. It really helps it get found and really helps the YouTube algorithm. What other skills, knowledge would be helpful for being a network engineer besides networking itself? Um, networking skills itself, obviously. You know, Definitely if you're not in the field, networking field yet, look into the CCNA certification. Um, skills, other skills, depending on the type of employer you go work with at. Python is becoming very popular in the networking field for network programmability and scripting. So Python might be a really good skill to pick up. I do believe Network Chuck is actually kind of starting a series on Python for networking. But that would be a good skill to have. Linux, believe it or not, depending on the type of networking equipment you use, a lot of networking equipment is Linux based or Debian based. So Linux would be a good skill to have as well. So awesome. Thank you for hitting the like button. Uh, I'll check out the replay. Otherwise, I'll hit you up on the Discord. Awesome. Thank you, Napalm Death Monkey. Normally, actually, after all our live streams, I do we kind of have a after show party on the Discord. So if you're not a member of our Discord, definitely go check it out. I will be on Discord, so you can ask me questions in the voice channel after the live stream, but I won't be around for long. I got to head home and finish cooking dinner. So, what about SQL alongside Yorkyard Ask Questions? SQL is always a good skill to know. Um, it's not being used as much in the networking realm lately, I found. Um, is it worth learning? If you're looking to level up into an administrator position, absolutely. Um, are you going to eventually run across it? Absolutely. Is that a skill I had learned starting off? No, not so whatsoever. Basic networking, ports, soft skills, Linux. Absolutely. That is absolutely the basic skills to enter the networking field. Soft skills and basic networking is all you need to start, and then you can go from there. All right, guys, I am going to wrap up this live stream. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Make sure if you're not already, subscribe to the channel because we try to release a video every single week. Lately, we've been doing 2 live streams a week. We've been doing one on Tuesday afternoons and one on Sunday in the evening time. So definitely join the channel, subscribe, and until next time, thank you guys for tuning in. Take it easy.